Hello, hello, hello. Hello? Hello? Are we live? Hey, we're live. Perfect. Okay. So, how y'all doing? Hope you're all doing good. I'm gonna wait maybe 1 minute for people to join or whatever. And then we're gonna get this party started by setting up a very basic level. Let's just see. I'm gonna press play. Now let's just see. Yeah, I can move this like that. Right, and we have the blue tower selected, the red one, green, yellow. Exactly, there you go. Now I can put one here, here. There you go. Yep, okay. Fine. I'm good. Less tired than I thought, which is good. But my brain might still be a little bit foggy. I really need to get my sleep in order. Jesus. But yeah, I don't know how long today's stream is gonna be. Because again, like I don't really give myself a like time limit per se. It's more so like I give myself a set of tasks, and until they're not done, then I'm obviously not gonna like finish what I'm doing, obviously, right? Actually, you should keep the tower placements like that on building and cliffs and whatnot. Turrets on the well, yeah. So exactly. So that's probably what I'm gonna do to have it kind of like a 3D type of what's it called? Like a 3D gameplay, right? Like a 3D tower defense, kind of. Oh, just give me a second. There you go. Okay, let's zoom in a bit. Okay, there you go. Yeah. And yeah, so I'm definitely gonna like I'm definitely thinking of having all sorts of gimmick towers where like certain towers can only be placed on walls, others on like flat terrain, and so on and so forth to make things interesting, right? Um, but before we get to that interesting part, yeah, yes, it's me, Zeno. I just changed my nickname. Um, so what was I saying? Yeah. So hold on. Let me just. Uh, Kingdom Rush. Okay. Okay, so that's a good example. Let's open it up here. Okay, so that's a good screenshot because it kind of shows us everything, right? In this instance, every single tower placement has been taken. So let me see if I can find a better one. No, this one as well. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Can I rush? Endless mode. Okay. So maybe here. No, it's kind of showing it, but it's a bad screenshot. Is that a good one? Yeah, but it's also not showing. Well, anyways. So the idea is. Okay. Oh, fuck. That's a good one. Okay, there you go. Let's open this one. Okay. So if you look here, you have certain places where the towers are built. This is obviously like the movement area, we're gonna call it, or whatever, right? Just an FYI for the chat, I found out 2 minutes before the stream that Randy converted to Judaism and intends to sell his company to highest bidder. You know, don't blame the player, blame the game, as they say. But yeah, so as you can see here, you have like the different paths. You have like icons here that allow you, so these are UI elements, just like this UI here. These allow you to click them and spawn an enemy wave in advance. And then these are like build placements, or whatever you want to call them, right? Like areas where you can build towers, right? But you can't build your towers however you want, right? As opposed to Revenge of the Titans. Last level. Let's say or hold on. Okay, there we go. But that's a small screenshot. God damn it. Well, anyways, so in a game like Revenge of the Titans, which for whatever reason there are no like good screenshots of it, as you can see, you can kind of just build your stuff however you want, right? Like you can build towers around your headquarters, then a set of walls, then more towers and stuff. And a good mechanic that I think is really nice in this game is the fact that you have the towers here. Again, like the screenshot's not the best because it's kind of small, so I'm hoping you guys are able to see kind of what I'm showing, right? But basically here you can see the towers that have like these like holographic beams that show where they are aiming, basically, right? But then you have these other things here, which aren't towers, but they're like buffing, like things. I don't know how to describe them, right? Like modules, basically, right? So like these ones, if I remember correctly, boost the attack range of your towers. These ones help them cool down faster. These ones give them more ammo, stuff like that, right? So what I was thinking is we could have a game that is like for this tower defense prototype, we could take inspiration, because this is what I do, right? Like a lot of people, and I think I mentioned this in a previous stream where like a lot of designers nowadays, they're like, oh no, we can't do a specific mechanic in our game because all of the previous games, not all the previous games, but like this other game is doing it, right? Or whatever, right? Like just like they put arbitrary constraints to themselves just to try to be like novel and original and all that stuff, right? But it's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? If something works and it's a good mechanic and it's fun, then like why not use it, right? And another thing that they do is that they put themselves in a box which is like, oh well, we're making a tower defense game, so you should not have this or that mechanic, right? I know it's very vague what I'm saying, but it's like like I'm trying to think of a good example I could use, right? Like let's say you have a game that's like a third-person shooter. Well, because we've decided to market it as a third-person shooter, well, you can't really have like melee combat in it, right? That doesn't really make sense, right? Or let's say you're making a MOBA and you're like, oh well, most MOBAs you control with a right click, right? Like you move your character using right click. So if your game moves your character with WASD, well, like no other MOBA does this, so we're not gonna do like you see what I mean? It's kind of like this like paradoxical way of thinking, which is like when they see another game do something good, they're like, well, we can't do the same thing because they've already done it, right? And when you see another game do something that's not necessarily good or bad, right? And you're like, well, you know what? I'm gonna put my own spin on it and make things interesting and whatnot, right? They're like, oh, you can't change that, right? That's gonna be too different. So it's like, okay, so like we can't be too different, but we can't be the same either. So like what are we, right? Like what are we doing, right? So this is kind of a theme that I wanna like analyze and bring forward, like in my like in these game dev streams, right? It's this idea that like if an idea is good, it's good. It doesn't matter if somebody else has come up with it. It doesn't matter if no one has thought of it before or whatever, right? Like be confident in trying out different things, right? Uh, and like if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. The point is not the result, right? Because you can't control the result, right? You can't control whether or not people are going to like your game or your ideas or whatever, right? Or dislike them or any of that, right? All you can control is what kind of product you're making, right? And so you should focus as much as you can on just delivering something that matches your vision to its fullest, right? Because again, like these dev streams are made for people who want to become solo developers, or let's say indie developers, maybe like you and like one or two of your friends, or like three or four of your friends, however many, right? But basically like small indie teams of 1 to let's say 5 people, right? Because once you go past 5 people, and even then 5 people is quite a lot actually, right? But the moment you go past like a couple of people, the logistics and the management actually becomes like really important, right? Like it becomes something um, that actually takes time out of your day, right? To make sure that everybody's on the same page and stuff like that, right? But let's say if you're a solo developer, right? Um, the idea is that because and this is kind of what I mentioned yesterday, because you're a solo developer, you're not hindered by having to make compromises with the other creatives on the team, right? And so you can go crazy in terms of like how creative you want to be or not or whatever, right? So in this context, what I'm saying is don't put fake constraints on yourself by being like, oh well, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't uh, take inspiration from this mechanic or whatever else, right? Like for instance, in the previous prototype project we were working on, right, which was the platformer, right? I decided to um, start like we started off by adding some very basic movement mechanics and this idea that like we deal damage to enemies the way Mario does damage to enemies, right? Like by jumping on top of them, right? But then after that I was like, you know what would be fun? Like adding cannons and like being able to shoot at enemies, right? And it's like a midwit, like I'm just gonna be really blunt about it, right? A midwit would look at this and be like, no, you can't do that, that's illegal, right? And you're like, why? It's fun, who gives a shit, right? And so this is kind of the design philosophy I go with, and I would advise you guys to do the same, right? Like don't put fake constraints around your game, right? However, and this is the important nuance, right? It's you shouldn't try to make the perfect game or try to appeal to every single person imaginable or any of that shit, right? What you should aim for is a very specific experience, right? And again, this goes back to what I was saying with the hold on, give me a second. There you go. With the following. There's gameplay, right? How the player interacts with the game. Then there's, let's say, it wasn't story. What was I using? It was, I guess, like the vibe, or like, oh my god, I forgot what term I was using before, but it wasn't story because it's a bit more than story. It's the fantasy, exactly. So it's fantasy, which is the vibe of the game, right? How it makes people feel, okay? And then lastly, there's let's say the soul, aka immersion, which is gameplay plus fantasy, right? So the idea that, like, the way I go about making games, right? Oh, hey, Russian Tadai. So the way I go about making games, and by the way, I'm gonna, like, I saw that a lot of you chatted. I'm gonna catch up on that. I just need to finish what I'm saying before I get distracted. So again, right, the way a lot of midwits approach game design is because midwits, and the other day when I was in egad's server, I was talking with people about that. It's like midwits are just smart enough, they're just intelligent enough to not be stupid, but they mistakenly think that that makes them smart, right? And that's not the case. That's not how it works, right? And so they're smart enough to understand gameplay, they're smart enough to understand fantasy, but they're not smart enough to understand gameplay plus fantasy, right? They're incapable of nuance, right? And so a lot of people either design a game only around the gameplay, and once they have the gameplay, they make some bullshit fantasy that doesn't necessarily always fit with the gameplay, right? Or vice versa, they go with full fantasy and then they think of the gameplay afterwards, right? It's like, oh, I have a story to tell or whatever, and then they're like, okay, well, how am I gonna transform this story into a video game, right? And it's like, that's not, in my opinion, that's not the optimal way of doing things, because these two things are two sides of the same coin, right? And so the idea is, think of a game you like. This is what I do, right? Like, every single game I make is an amalgamation of one or more pieces of media. It's not always video games, right? But one or more pieces of media that I really enjoyed, but I felt like something was missing, right? So, like, for instance, and again, like, this, I've shown this already. Hold on, just give me a minute. Okay. What the fuck are these recommendations, bro? That, like, this makes sense. The Unreal VFX portfolio, that makes sense, right? That fits with what I've been looking. League of Legends versus StarCraft 2, yes. Create a sci-fi action third person, yes. Right? This, I don't know why this isn't my recommended. Anyways, so okay. So again, like reminder, this scene here, right? This scene here, this scene alone completely inspired the video game I'm currently making, my sci-fi strategy game, right? This scene alone inspired it, but it's not, or rather, it inspired the idea behind it, right? But then I started playing different games like Stellaris and StarCraft and Total War and Dune Spice Wars and a bunch of other games, which further inspired me, like Homeworld 3 and stuff like that, which further inspired me to really narrow down how I'm gonna execute this idea, right? So basically, when I watched Star Wars Episode 3 for the first time, it's all fantasy because it's a movie, right? So I'm like, okay, I want that space battle to be a video game. I want to be able to interact with it, right? But then I'm like, okay, I have this idea, but how exactly am I gonna turn it into a video game, right? And again, I know what I'm describing kind of sounds like what I said before, where it's like you start with one thing and then you go with another, whatever. But it's more so that I watched that movie and I was like, that would be a cool video game, but I have no idea where to even begin, right? So I put that idea on the back burner. Then later on, I played a bunch of strategy games like StarCraft 2 and Stellaris and so on and so forth. And I was constantly frustrated because I was like, these games are missing something in terms of like gameplay, right? And also in terms of fantasy, but mainly in terms of gameplay. Or rather, no, it's not mainly in terms of gameplay. It's mainly in terms of how the gameplay and the fantasy work together, right? So basically, they're kind of missing a bit of soul, basically, is what I'm saying, right? And so then I brought back this idea of like, oh yeah, like, I really loved the Star Wars Episode 3 opening scene because I remember it really like stimulated my imagination. And I'm also really dissatisfied with games like Stellaris and so on and so forth. And so then I was like, well, how about I take what's good about Stellaris, which is part of the gameplay, but also a bit of the fantasy of Stellaris, and then combine it with the visuals and the vibe of the Star Wars space battles, right? And so then I started working off of this and constantly reworking it, right? And so this is gonna be my last point, right? Which is like, you should start with an idea that's very vague and just start prototyping ideas for it. Kind of like what we're doing. Oh, not here, here, right? We're just prototyping different ideas based on like what feels right, you know? And like this is very nebulous language that I'm using, but it's on purpose because the idea is you have to use your gut feeling, right? Like I assume we're all gamers, we've all played a bunch of different games, right? And so like me, for instance, the first video game I ever played was I think StarCraft 1 when I was like 6 years old, right? And so I've played strategy games my whole life, right? So I'm at the point where I've played so many different like types of strategy games for so long that it's kind of like second nature. Like I just know what feels right in a strategy game and what doesn't. It doesn't mean that my judgment is like perfect and I have the answers to everything. It just means that my gut feeling, right, is very attuned to that, as opposed to, let's say, a racing game or like a platformer game. As you saw, it's like that's not really my cup of tea because I haven't really played a lot of those games, right? But if we're talking like RPGs, strategy games, shooters, etc., those types of games, those are my cup of tea. So I can already tell you like, oh yeah, this feels right, this not so much, etc., right? Um, and so the reason why I've spent years working on my strategy game and like I'm really getting there, almost done. It's because I would work on a prototype for that game. I would get it working. I would start testing it out, and it wouldn't feel right. It would feel like certain things would feel really good, right? I'm like, okay, yeah, this mechanic really works. It's really intuitive. It looks good. It feels right. But then this other thing, not so much, right? And so what a lot of developers do, and I don't really blame them for this, right? Because like they're doing this as a full-time job, right? Like they're paid, the shareholders are expecting the product to be ready for a certain date, etc., right? So they can't really afford to waste time prototyping ideas endlessly, right? But again, these game dev tutorials are made for people like me who I have a normal job and I technically do this on the side, right? And the idea is, assuming you're like a solo developer, or even if you're not, let's just assume you're like financially independent, basically, right? Well, you're financially and creatively independent. Well, in that case, it's like you should, number one, find a project that really motivates you, because it's based off of something that you think is lacking, right? It's like, oh, no one has thought of making a game that has this or that mechanic with this type of fantasy, right? And then once you have that idea, again, ideas are cheap. Anybody can have ideas. The point is, take take that idea and start prototyping ideas for it, right? Start prototyping stuff, and you're gonna see very quickly that the moment you start coding, you're gonna get lost, right? You're actually gonna stray away from your original idea. And when you're gonna have a prototype, it's not gonna feel like what you had in mind, right? And this is very important, right? Like this is basically like mental gymnastics, in the sense that you need to keep track of what the original idea and what the feel, right? Like the quote unquote feel, also known as soul, right? Also known as immersion, also known as feel, right? You need to keep track of how the game feels, right? To know if you're on the right track, you know? And this is why my game, like the strategy game that I'm currently making, I've been working on it for like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years now, because every like 3 to 6 months I would have a prototype ready. I would start testing it, and I'm like, something's not right, something's missing, etc., etc. So I would go back to the drawing board, keep what works, and test out new things to see if I can get closer to the fantasy, and like yeah, like the fantasy and the soul, let's say, that I'm trying to create, right? And so, anyways, all of this to say, I'm gonna finish this, right? To say, like, pay attention, always pay attention to what the goal of the game is. And a good way of doing this, it's something called, hold on, it's something called game pillars, right? Oh, fuck, hold on. Game pillars. And again, this is game design, right? Which are core concepts slash themes slash etc. That you should use as what's the word, as like as a compass for what you want your game to be and feel like, right? There you go, right? And so, for instance, in my game, let's say I want the pillars to be X, Y, and Z. Well, then, like, it's a good idea to write down the pillars, right? And be like, okay, like for the game I'm currently making, it's this, like, it's pillar X, Y, and Z, right? Like X, Y, and Z, right? Those are like your pillars, and you try to stray away from them as little as possible, right? And this is a problem that a lot of modern games fail at, is that every person is pushing towards whatever direction they want to do the game, without compromising with what other people want the game to be. And you end up with like chimera games that are like basically a couple of different games all put together, right? A very good example of that would be World of Warcraft, which, for those of you who haven't played, started out as a real MMORPG, and now it's basically a casino. You know, like, the game is not an MMO and it's not an RPG. It's a casino, right? That pretends to be an MMORPG, right? And that's because the design changed, partly because of Activision, Bobby Kotick, etc., but also because when you hear the developers of World of Warcraft talk about like whatever new expansion or update they have, right? All they talk about is like, oh, and you're gonna get this loot and that loot and blah 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 blah. And it's like, that's not the point. You know what I mean? The point is the fantasy of living in the World of Warcraft, right? The loot is just to look cool while living in that world. But then they completely turned this upside down, and now it's like, fuck the world. Like, it's called World of Warcraft, yet there's barely any mechanics that encourage people to explore the World of Warcraft and interact with it, right? Instead, you're just sitting in the capital city, you press a button, you automatically queue up for a dungeon, and then it automatically teleports you into a dungeon without you having to explore the fucking World of Warcraft, right? And then you teleport into the dungeon, you do it, and because all the dungeons are the same, everybody knows the specific path to follow, and so they do it brainlessly until they get the loot that they want. That is shit. That is it's a complete betrayal of their game pillars, right? But anyways, so all of this to say, create a so take inspiration from other pieces of media, come up with something that you feel as a gamer will fill up a niche that you want to be filled up, right? But no one's doing it, so be like, well, fuck it, I'll do it, right? And then distill the experience you're trying to create, right, into, so hold on, here, by soul, also known as immersion, also known as feel, what I mean is the experience, right? The experience, right? There you go. So this, like, take the experience you want and distill it into, let's say one, or let's say one between 1 and 5 pillars. 5 is a bit much. Generally 3 is good. 3 pillars is it's a good number, because 5 becomes a bit too much, because if you have too many pillars, then your pillars are kind of diluted, right? What you want is like, and 1 pillar is a bit too few, right? So ideally 3, right? Ideally 3, you know? So yeah, so kind of distill this idea into, let's say, 3 pillars, right? And then start working on prototypes and do multiple prototypes until you find the one that comes closest to all 3 pillars, right? Is what I would say. Okay, so let's read. When you think about it, it's sad that balloons is still one of the best TDs. It's such an underdeveloped genre. Yeah, I agree. Good mechanics should be adopted. Bad mechanics put straight in the trash. Exactly. Randy, you spin the truth right now. Well, why do any game? Well, why do any game to begin with? And yeah, exactly. It's like saying we can't have a round wheel because it's a used idea. So instead, we will go with an oval because it's not that different like a square would be. Note that the oval still kills its function. Yeah, you can do that. Wait a minute, you're supposed to be busy working. Who are you chatting with? Sites Bell Elephants. He's only saying that because he knows something really embarrassing will be in there one day. I'm not sure what a reference to that is. Are you going to have us dive into a pool only to land in a pool, breaking our arms and neck? The Stars experience. Yeah, pretty much. Games by committee. You think I'm going to sit here and take this WoW hate? Yes, I will. When Randy looks at the chat and it's all me. Randy is now a WoW hater. My magnum opus that I hope one day to make is an MMORPG. World of Warcraft Vanilla was an MMORPG, and it stopped being an MMORPG in early Wrath, I think. But basically, whenever they introduced like the quick match, like the dungeon finder and whatever, the moment they introduced this, basically if you look at the history of World of Warcraft, every single update they put into the game disincentivizes players from socializing with one another, right? And instead incentivizes players to be hamsters in a wheel, right? And again, if we go back to like the pillars that I was saying, I would say that the 3 core pillars of World of Warcraft Vanilla when it came out is the World of Warcraft, also known as exploration. Number 2, it's character growth, right? And I would say number three is I would say the central pillar is socialization, right? Players interacting with one another, doing whatever, whether it's PvP, like attacking random players outside of the cities, or trading, or guilds, or just meeting new people and questing together and whatever, right? And if you pay close attention, every single um, update they've added to the game since the game came out has disincentivized people from doing any of those three um, core pillars, right? They, because back in the day, every single capital had like a bank, an auction house, etc., right? And so the idea is, whichever capital city you go to, there are going to be shops, there's going to be stuff to do, right? Then um, you have the exploration, which is like the quests, uh, like incentivized players to explore the world, right? And you had like all sorts of yeah, exactly. Like the WoW players are all bugmen, basically, right? The you had so many quests that were like, oh yeah, go to this completely other continent to speak with a random NPC who's gonna give you a clue to then go to a third continent on a mountain where there's like a hidden sword that you can find, like all this crazy shit, right? And then the third part was like the socialization, which is like each class is different. And so if you're a guild, you need a mage because mages can create portals, right? You need warlocks because warlocks can like banish summons, right? So when you're doing certain dungeons, warlocks are incredibly powerful against certain types of enemies, right? Like you might need a priest because priests can revive people, etc., right? Um, and then every single uh, game mechanic they added was against this, right? Not now, none of the quests require you to fucking explore the world, right? It's all like a theme park, right? Then number two, it's your character progression. Like you can buy levels. You can pay them like I don't know how many dollars it is, and just get a character max level already. So it's like, okay, so what's the fucking point, right? Yeah, a theme park of chores, exactly, right? And then number three, all the classes are the same now. Like everybody can use portals, everybody can teleport all over the place. Anyways, fuck World of Warcraft. It used to be a great game. It's a shit game. I think that describes all MMOs. Now MMOs start ruined because they are aware of that money making formula. Exactly. So, anyways, I'm gonna drink and then we're gonna actually get going on making the enemies and the pathing, and if possible, on making the towers and projectiles and stuff. But I'm not sure we're gonna have time to do that. Okay. So, so as I was saying, here I'm gonna use a hybrid between like a game like Kingdom Rush, where you have different towers, right? That you can build, and then the enemies stream down the lanes. And here you can see the little flags represent like the path you're trying to protect, right? And something like Revenge of the Titans, which is like you can kind of place your towers however you want, and the placement of these towers is important because it allows you to like do combinations, right? Like you can combine uh, like you can put certain towers and then put like these radar modules that are gonna amplify their range, etc., right? So okay, that's the idea. Okay, so let's close this. So now as I said yesterday, a good thing to do is to reuse our yeah, our oh my god, what's it called, our script. So here I'm gonna create a new script called spawner td manager, right? Okay, let's close this while it's compiling creating the script. All right. So let's literally just do this. Let's just completely copy paste. Oh, I'm stupid. Okay, private enemy, current enemy script, core variables, spawn objects boolean, yes, objects to spawn, number of objects to spawn, exactly. Okay, let's do this like that. Okay. Well, actually, no, yeah, I'm gonna keep the script separate just in case I have to do new stuff. Numbers of enemies killed. Yeah, that I'm not sure if we're gonna keep. Anyways, we're gonna keep everything here for now. And eventually we're gonna do that. Hold on, I'm gonna create another script which is gonna be model behavior, TD, oops, enemy tower defense. Okay. All right. Okay, so now we're gonna double click. We're gonna open this. Yeah, we're gonna close this like that. And then what we're gonna be doing here is variables for interacting with other scripts. For now, we're not gonna do anything, and then header core enemy td variables public game object, no, not game manager, game object, this object, right? Like this is a placeholder, right? It's just so that this stops giving us an error. Okay, so for now we're gonna have these two things, right? And then I'm gonna do create mono behavior, pathing td. Yeah. Okay, once again we're gonna close this. And so the idea, as I said, it's we're gonna have like different situations like these, right? Like not situations, but I mean like different pathing and stuff that we're gonna start setting up, right? So what I'm gonna do here is wait, oh, pathing, okay, there you go. Variables for interacting with other scripts, right? And now what I'm gonna do is actually I'm not gonna do anything here for now. Header core pathing variables, public game object placeholder. Oh, let's go. Oh, okay, let's wait for it to compile. Scripts, platformer. Let's open the, well, spawner manager we already have. Enemy we already have. Level boundaries, obstacles, platformer manager, player arm, player body, blah blah blah. Projectile, propulsion. Where is movement pattern manager? Jesus, okay. Okay, so now the way this is coded is that when an enemy comes in contact with it, right, they're going to change their the way they look at, right? Now for this, what I'm gonna do is just to make it a bit simpler, I'm gonna make that collision happen in the for the enemies, right? So what I'm gonna do here is enemy td. Okay, here I'm gonna do private pathing td current pathing script, okay? And then here, what I'm gonna do is, fuck. Okay, I'm gonna just copy paste this. And again, this goes back to what I'm saying, right? Like once you start prototyping different ideas, the more you do it, the faster it's gonna be because you're gonna be reusing more and more of your code, you know? Can show pathing script again, the stream from, oh, okay. Well, don't worry, I'm gonna, hold on. Here's the pathing script. It's really simple, right? Yeah. Like it's super simple. It's basically the moment the enemy collides with it, you just make it look at a different object and like that's it. You know? Simple, basically. So enemy TD. Okay, so private on trigger enter collider. Whenever an enemy collides with a pathing object, change the direction it's facing, right? So now what I'm gonna do here is change this to pathing tower defense. That's gonna be the the tag, and then pathing tower defense. What I'm gonna do here is rename this one to object to look at, or yeah, target object, let's say, right? So now what I'm gonna do is enemy TD pathing script equals other dot get component. There you go. And now what I'm gonna do is so transform dot look at pathing script dot target object dot transform dot position. Boom, there you go. And now all of these I can just remove them, okay? And now let's go back to our original enemy script, right? Let's just copy paste all of the variables, okay? Core enemy variables, there you go. Enemy type, for now we're gonna keep this like that, or enemy type TD. Okay, fucking bitch. The reason why I don't want to change this is it's because it's copied from another script. I don't want to run the risk of modifying. Well, actually, let's see. Let's see if it's going to do that. Rename enemy type TD. Okay, it didn't change it here. Okay, perfect. Easy. Okay, so we have none, red enemy, blue enemy, yellow enemy, green enemy. Okay, perfect. This enemy's spawn object, sure. Current distance to player. Okay, this for now, we're not gonna use it. This enemy's base value. Final value. Yeah, this we can keep because we might use this to determine how the player loses points. Because again, what I want to show you with this prototype is, first of all, raycasts. Second of all, a bit more game design stuff. And then third of all, I want to show UI and most importantly, like a failed game state, right? Like how we can make the player lose a level or whatever, right? Like lose the game, basically, right? Enemy stats, max enemy HP, yeah. Enemy attack damage, sure. Knockback force, I don't think we need it. Enemy movement variables, yes. Okay, we're gonna keep this. There you go. This rigid body, current movement direction, etc. Okay, so how was I doing Okay, first of all, let's just copy paste this because we're kind of gonna use the same logic for hold on, this enemy type. Okay, enemy type TD. There you go. There you go. Okay, yeah. So we're gonna kind of use the same logic that we had here, okay, to determine like how like what the value is of each enemy, let's say, right? Like their score value or whatever. Then how did we do? Okay, this rigid body, set up relevant enemy variables. Okay, let's do this. So enemy PD, okay. Now let's go here and okay. I see. Okay, so let's say enemy pattern movement. Okay, so enemy movement. Okay, we're just gonna do it like that, enemy movement, because once again it's a tower defense game, so we're not gonna be doing anything fancy like what we were doing in the platformer. Transform, dot translate, vector 3 forward, etc, etc. Okay, that's good. And so I guess we were using the rigid body. Where is it? This rigid body, Control F, to be able to see everywhere it's used. So here, and then here like that, add force, etc, etc. Okay. Okay. Okay, so for now, I guess we're gonna use it like that. Okay, so I have a bit of an idea of something interesting that we could do here. Okay, so this is done here. Enemy movement. Okay. Okay, so now all right, so now I think we have enough for the pathing, right? And again, right now I don't have any prefabs. Eventually I'm going to make prefabs, but for now I'm not gonna do anything. So spawner TD, or actually hold on, I'm gonna make it into a cube just because it's easier to see. Cube spawner TD. Whoa. Okay. So let's say 10, 30. Okay. Keep it simple and stupid. Let's just press play and look. Okay. So let's just move this one here. Just have more space to look at it. Spawner, we're gonna remove this, and we're gonna add spawner. Oh, okay, Jesus. Let's close this. Okay, there we go. Spawner. Okay, so for now, I don't have anything that's gonna make anything spawn, right? So actually I need to get, no, not player manager, player TD spawner. Okay, so how did I do it here? Spawn enemies timer. I'm just gonna copy paste. Yeah, for now that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have like an infinite number of enemies, basically. Oh, I'm stupid. Okay, there you go. Okay. So we're gonna have that. Um, okay. Yeah, everything here works already because again, I'm literally just copy pasting my code. Yeah, this is something else that could be useful if we want certain specific types of enemies. And eventually we might combine this code with this one to create a kind of hybrid. But for now, again, we're going to keep it simple and stupid. Oh, and this is another thing in terms of game design that I personally, it's like a big rule of thumb with me. And I think of all the big AAA gaming companies, I think Nintendo's the one that's doing it the best. It's keep things simple and stupid, but that doesn't mean they don't have depth, right? So what this means, or like Minecraft is a very good example of this, right? It's like the core gameplay is incredibly simplistic. Like if you take like a Mario game or even like a Zelda Breath of the Wild or whatever, like you move around, you can climb on stuff, you can use your powers to like freeze water or freeze objects in place, etc., right? But then you can start combining these different mechanics to do all sorts of interesting stuff, right? If you're wearing metal armor and it's raining, and you get hit by lightning, well, actually, it allows you to get hit by lightning, for instance, right? Um, if it's raining and you want to use like explosive arrows, well, they're not gonna go off because it's raining, right? Etc., right? So it's a bunch of very like simple, intuitive rules that then when you combine them together creates emergent gameplay, right? Which is really good, basically. Okay, so current object to spawn. Yeah, here it's random. Spawn RNG. Okay, so let's create our first enemy. We're gonna make it into a sphere. Enemy red, then enemy blue, then enemy green, and then lastly enemy yellow. Oh, okay. So let's add a rigid body to every single one of them, as well as another sphere collider. Sphere collider here, so that way they can detect both trigger and not. They are going to use gravity, but they're not gonna be well. Okay, this is gonna be interesting. Let's see if they're actually gonna be rotating. So blue material on the blue enemy, red material on the red enemy, yellow material on the yellow enemy, etc. Okay, so let's go here. Okay. So red is gonna be, hold on, where are these? 50. Okay. 20. 50 minus 45. No, minus 40. Minus 35. There you go. Okay. So now if we click, Nintendo's good at making games, not so good at selling that Switch too. Yeah, well, fuck them. They deserve it, greedy bastards. Oh. Oh, right. Okay. Ah, fuck. They fucking fell through. Okay, hold on. Actually, we're not gonna use gravity for now. We're gonna disable gravity. And we're gonna lift them up. We're gonna lift them up 0.5 degrees. Okay. Now let's see. Well, actually, hold on. Yeah. Okay, let's see if I activate gravity. Okay, yeah. So they fell through because, okay. So that makes more sense. Okay, perfect. Right. Okay. Oh my god, my nose is itching. Holy shit. Woo! Okay. So, okay, so now we have this. Now I'm going to make them inactive. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add one line of code here. That's just going to say, after instantiating an enemy, make or activate it. So, newly spawn object that's set active. And this set active is the equivalent of pressing here the little thing, like you activate them, you deactivate them, you activate them, you deactivate them. But the thing is, when you're checking if an object is active or not, it's written differently. You have to say like if newly spawned object dot active self equals false, let's say, right? Then you do this basically, right? There you go. Okay, so okay, this is done here. Actually, we're gonna add, hold on, script tower defense, enemy tower defense. Okay, enemy base value 1, enemy type blue, red, green, yellow. Okay, so hold on. Now I'm curious. Let me just go into the enemy TD and simply change the order, okay, in which these ones are done here. Okay. I want to see if just by changing the order, it's going to reset all of their values. No, okay. Oh, interesting. Okay, so because I changed the order, it remembered what the order was, but I just changed the names. Okay, interesting. So this one, yeah, okay. Green, this one's gonna be blue. Yeah, and the other one red. Amazing. Okay, interesting. Okay. So now we have this done here. HP, I don't know. Let's give them all 10 HP or some shit. Keep it simple for now. Base value, max HP 10. Current HP 1. Attack, sure. 1 attack, whatever. Enemy movement speed 5. 1. Okay. There you go. There you go. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do here is create like a cube and call it pathing TD. Okay, and now what we're gonna do is because it was on trigger enter, right? For the enemy TD on trigger enter, yes. So here we're gonna have it on trigger rigid body, use gravity no, oops, and then pathing TD. Okay, so now what's the spawner at? The spawner is 1030 30. Okay, and also let's give these, so the spawner, let's make its mesh, or no, actually let's put it at 5 in the air, right, like that, and let's make it face 100 80, nope. 100, no. Okay, there you go, 180, okay. And let's see if I were to do this like that, right? And then another, oh, Control D to duplicate, right? And then let's say, let's push it here, right? So -10, okay? And now let's just say here another -10. Okay, so now this one here is going to have this here. And this one here is going to have, wait, okay. And then this one here is going to be -15. Like that. Okay, oops. Let's say this one here is gonna be 20 like that, 20 like that. Okay, so like that. So this one, okay. And let's give them, I don't know, let's make them all orange. 2, 3, 4. Okay, they're all orange. All right. Oh my god, my nose is fucking killing me. Holy shit. Okay. So now it should hopefully work. Let's set this up. Objects to spawn. We're gonna say, oops. Yeah, here's a reminder of how to do this. We lock top right, we lock, select all of them, and then boom, we drop them here. Number of objects to spawn. So just give me a second. Let's go back to look at how we did our spawner. So it's this here. If spawn enemy RNG, we're gonna change this to random spawn random enemy ID between 1 and 4. Okay, like that. Transform, rotation, blah blah blah. Number of enemies spawned plus equals 1. If numbers of enemies spawned is lower than number of enemies to spawn. Okay, there you go. Okay, and now what I'm gonna do with the enemies is, just to make it happen forever, endlessly, it's gonna be spawner this spawner td manager script. Okay, the spawner tower defense manager script. Here in start we're gonna do equals spawn this enemy spawn object dot get component spawner td manager, boom, right? This enemy's spawner object. Okay, all right, so now let's see, number of enemies to spawn, let's say 50. And what's the spawn interval? Spawn timer 0.5. Okay, so let's see, hopefully it should work. Must be the yogurt. Uh-oh. Okay, interesting. Could it be, hold on, could it be because they can't rotate? Okay. So let's say 1.5. Okay. And that clearly, hold on. Spawn time elapsed is lower than this plus equals and number of enemies to spawn, number of enemies spawned. Okay. Spawned to spawn. Hold on. Spawner manager. Okay, interesting. Okay, yeah. I remember now what this was. Okay, no, that's not useful. Okay, so it should be working. Okay. Current object to spawn ID. Let's press play. Let's just see. Okay, so it spawned every single one of them all at once. So if game object newly spawned. What? But it's not a while. Hold on, what's going on? This is interesting. So game object newly spawned object, yeah. Oh wait, no, whoops, it's here. Okay, there you go. So range between one of these. But it's not a while loop. Yeah, and yeah. Okay, so this is clearly working. This timer here is clearly working. The problem is that spawn object. Okay. Okay. I have no idea. Huh. What's causing what? Spawn timer. What? Okay, hold on. Hold on. What the hell is going on? What the fuck? I don't understand why it's not working. Okay, hold on. We're gonna put it here to like 5 seconds just to give us time to like prepare ourselves mentally. So here we have 50 enemies. Okay. So we have 50 enemies to spawn. The spawn timer, when it reaches 5 seconds, it should only spawn one at random between these 4 types, right? But instead, get 3, 4, 5. Huh. What the fuck? Okay. I have no idea what the issue is. So, as you guys might imagine, we're gonna go see our best friend, ChatGPT. All right. I'll do it again. Okay. Spawn enemies timer. Blah 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 blah. Okay. So here's a very basic script I've been making in Unity 6. It's supposed to spawn an enemy at random from the enemies list. Hold on. I'm actually gonna just copy paste the whole thing because it's a tiny script. Okay, blah 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 blah. It's supposed to spawn an enemy at random from the enemies list at a specific interval. Instead, however, once the timer is reached, it spawns all enemies at once. Here's the script for reference. See, again, like ChatGPT is really useful for like debugging, but don't necessarily expect it. And like, honestly, even sometimes it fucks up the debugging. I'm gonna be honest, like this week I had a weird bug in my game where like, I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I sent it, I did what I just did, right? Like I sent it a code snippet of my script and I was like, can you, like, I know for a fact that there's a soft crash happening somewhere around here, right? And I need you to help me find it, right? I was just being lazy basically because I already had kind of an idea of what the issue was. But instead of helping me find the script, it just told me like, oh yeah, like here's how you could rewrite this entire script into like a different way. I was like, that's not what I asked, right? So again, AI can be really useful if you know how to use it and if you get lucky, because sometimes it just shits the bed. Okay, wait, where is ChatGPT? Okay, hold on. Do this like that. Okay. Thanks for sharing the code. It's actually quite close to working as expected. The main reason all enemies appear to be spawning at once is due to how the timer logic works. This block. If number of enemies means that once the timer hits or exceeds spawn timer F, it tries to spawn an enemy every frame as long as number of enemies spawned. Since update runs every frame, often 60 plus times per second, all enemies get spawned almost instantly. You need to spawn one enemy, then reset the timer. Okay, so if enemies stop if done spawning. Okay, if spawn enemies, reset timer first. Okay, then spawn. Okay, so see, the order in which we do things is very important. Oh, let's go to values like random range. Yeah. Oh, right. It's true, I'm stupid. Okay, there you go. Boom, and now what we're gonna do is like that. Okay, and now hopefully it should work as intended. Jesus. And now the next thing we need to fix is the rotation, which might have something to do with the rigid bodies. So 5, okay, 3, 4, 5. Hey! It looks like it looks like it's shitting them out. Oh. Oh. Okay, let's boost it to 500 and do it at 0.1. Okay, there you go. Whoop, 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 whoop. 0.5. Okay. A nice little trickle of balls. Now let's see. Let's see. Let's watch them fall. Okay, hold on. Jesus, bro, this plane. Okay, hold on. Let's speed them up a bit. Let's speed them all up a bit. Oh. Whee! Oh shit, that looks pretty cool actually. Damn. Okay. Whee! Eh. Oh jeez. Alright, so okay, the pathing TD. Oh, hold on. The pathing TD. Oh! Oh, okay, it's because I forgot the tag. Makes sense. Okay, so pathing. There you go. Now we select these and you do pathing TD. Okay, now it should work. Haha. I'm going to get something to eat if I don't come back before you end the stream. Thanks for the stream, Randy. And for chat, if you're interested, I'll be playing Shifu later today. All right. Well, thanks for coming, Zeno. Really appreciate it. And yeah, if you guys want, like, go check him out after I'm done. We're already like an hour and a half of the way there. And like, although doing the actual tower shooting projectile script would probably take at most an hour, the problem is that doing the tower enemy detection is a bit more complicated than that, and I really want to take my time to show it to you guys. So that's what we're going to be doing Saturday, like next Saturday. I'm going to show you how I would go about doing a script where, like, with a single script you can have all of the towers know which enemies are within range and which ones aren't, right? Okay, so now here we have the pathing. Now let's go back to the spawner and do 0.1, let's say, right? Or actually, you know what? Okay, this could be interesting. Spawn time elapsed. Okay, so now here what we're gonna do is spawn, okay, and then change the timer to something random. So timer f equals random dot range between random dot range between 0.1 f and let's say 1.5 f. Okay, there you go. So now every time it spawns one, it's gonna change the timer just to make it a bit more interesting, right? Like sometimes it's gonna spawn a bunch of enemies at once, other times not so much, right? So let's start with 5 seconds and then we're gonna see, right? Okay. Actually, hold on. I'm gonna move this back up to here. This, I'm gonna change it 45 degrees like that. And then this one, we're gonna move it up to here like that. Okay. Okay. So 3, 4, 5, go. Nice. All right. And now here we can put some towers. There you go. Bada bing, bada boom. Nice. All right, all right, all right, all right. I'm sorry, not trying to. Yeah, don't worry about it. It's fine. I'm gonna change the settings and whatnot. All right, there you go. So yeah, so there here you have already like a pathing. Now obviously the plan is not to make them run around in circles, right? But instead to make it something more like this, right? Like with actual like specific proper paths and stuff, right? And something that's cool with Kingdom Rush, which eventually I'm gonna implement. Actually, I might do it right now just because like we've only been going for an hour and a half. It's that sometimes you can have multiple waves come from the same path, but let's say one wave is gonna do this like that, the other one's gonna go all the way over here. You know what I mean? You might have one that goes all the way like this, and another that goes here, etc., right? Same thing here, like you might have one that goes all the way over here, another one that goes all the way over here like that, right? That's cool, you know. And like you can have like specific small areas with like specific towers, you know, etc. You can have all sorts of cool towers, and so this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking what we could do is combine the idea of Revenge of the Titans with like certain towers that like buff others, and combine it with this where like it's asymmetrical, right? Because like in Revenge of the Titans, unless there's mountainous areas and stuff, you can kind of build wherever you want, right? So there's like too much freedom here, whereas here there's like too little in a sense. But both of these work. Like this works. Too much freedom works for Revenge of the Titans, but it wouldn't work for Kingdom Rush and vice versa, right? This works perfectly for Kingdom Rush, but it wouldn't work for a game like Revenge of the Titans, right? And so what I'm thinking is we can do kind of a mix of both, right? And yeah, and so for instance, like have certain towers that are like boosting others around them, but they take a specific size or whatever, right? So that's kind of the idea that I have, right? And okay, and now let's see. Okay, it's what I'm gonna do is okay, list variables. Okay, I'm gonna make another list that's gonna be public list of integer. It's number of enemies to spawn list. Okay, there you go, like that. Oh fuck. Index equals spawn number of or waves to spawn list. We're gonna rename this to waves to spawn list. Wave ID list element equals number of enemies to spawn for current wave. Okay, so again, so this now we're starting to work more on like the level design aspect of it, of like, okay, how can I have multiple waves of enemies that are going to be spawned at a specific point in time, right? So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add another timer. Okay, so spawn timer. This here is gonna be public float wave timer equals, okay, public float wave time elapsed like that. Oh fuck. Okay, there you go. And now what we're gonna do is oh fuck, hold on. Oh god, my back was itching, sorry. My back started itching so intensely in like a fraction of a second that my brain just bugged out and I just left to go scratch my back. Jesus. Okay, hold on. So what I'm thinking of doing is, okay, spawn enemies. Okay. So here what we're gonna do is public void wave timer so if wave time elapsed is lower than wave timer, then we do wave elapsed, yeah, plus equal time dot delta time. Else if time elapsed, wave time elapsed is greater or equal timer f. Okay, and now what we're gonna do here is public bool spawn current wave bool equals false, and also public int current wave ID equals, so let's put 0 initially, right? So now what we're gonna do here is, oh fuck, my back is itching again, bear it back. Jesus Christ. Bro, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but it's like, it just all of a sudden starts itching like crazy in like the spot where I can't reach. Bro, I'm getting trolled by my own body. Okay, hold on. So now here, what we're gonna do is, wave boolean spawn current wave equals true. Okay, and this wave timer, what we're gonna do is if current wave bool equals false, then and only then are we gonna do the wave timer. Okay. Or let's rename this to wave manager. Okay, there you go. And now here, okay, else if wave bool equals true. Okay. Okay. All right. Spawn enemies timer. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, and now this is gonna spawn it, but instead of doing number of enemies to spawn while like this is lower than whatever, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go for waves to spawn list. Okay, hold on. Okay, yeah, this is fine. Now here we're gonna do for. We're gonna do a for loop index 0 equals 0. Loop index 0 is lower than wave list dot count, or no, wave list current wave ID. Okay. Okay, yeah, this is how we're gonna do it. Okay. Are you wearing polyester clothing? It could be causing you an itch if you are sweating. Okay, yeah, so long ago I did have that problem, but I don't think like this is. I'm wearing like an old ass tank top that I've had since high school, so like at least 10 years. And no, it's just it's weird. Like I can feel it. It's like a muscle thing. I like it's fucking weird. But no, no, like I'm not sweating. Here in Canada right now. We're like on the 1st of June, and it's hold on. What's the weather? Just to show you, I'm not even joking. Hold on. Yeah, it's 11 degrees Celsius. Like, yeah. So later on during the week, it's actually gonna get like real summer weather. But like, bruh, last night it was like 8 degrees or something. It's ridiculous. So, um, and his body is reverting to a teen. I must revert to an egg and bury myself for 3 years. Okay, hold on. Okay, so here's I'm gonna explain what I'm trying to do. Okay, so now I'm going to have values here. So instead of using these ones, okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to have basically I'm gonna have a substitute for this, right? Like the number of enemies to spawn. Instead, it's gonna be the value of each index in this list. And as I said, the index is the wave ID. So index 0 is wave 0, index 1 is wave 1, etc., etc. And then the list element is basically gonna be the value itself is gonna be the number of enemies to spawn for this wave, right? And so then what I'm gonna do here is once the wave timer is done, we're gonna start spawning a bunch of enemies. So like wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, etc., etc., right? And in order to spawn the enemies, we're just gonna do this. We're gonna go for a for loop. Or no, actually, no. Okay, wait, no. No, we're not gonna do a for loop because otherwise it's gonna spawn them all at once. What we're gonna do is... well, actually, hold on. I don't need this. All I'm gonna do is... if number of enemies spawned is lower than wave to spawn list current wave ID, right? Then it's gonna spawn whatever enemy, right? But then we're gonna add another else if statement, which is gonna be if number of enemies spawned is greater or equal to waves to spawn list current wave ID, right? Then all we're gonna do is current wave ID plus equals 1, right? Hold on. Actually, here, what I'm gonna do is this. I'm gonna add one just to prevent bugs from happening. But if current wave ID is lower than wave list dot count, right? Because remember, the current wave ID is equivalent to the index, right? So let's say if there are 7 waves to spawn, that means that the last index is gonna be 6 because it goes 0, like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? That's 7 waves total, right? But the first index is 0, right? And so what we're doing here is if the spawn current wave boolean is true and current wave ID is lower than 7, that means it's going to spawn enemies, right? But the moment this is equal to 7, it goes past the last index, and so we can't spawn like the current wave ID can't be 7 because the max is 6, for instance. You know what I mean? So basically, what I'm creating here is a tool to make levels really quickly. Basically, right? Okay, there you go. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. So now since this only happens when we have a normal number of waves, like a normal current wave ID, and the boolean is true, then we're gonna go here, we're gonna spawn, what I'm gonna do here is also number of enemies spawned equals 0. There you go. And then current wave equals true, and then finally, oops, wave boolean equals false. Okay? So let me know, because I think I saw the stream buffer quickly right now. Let me know if like the stream kind of fucked up and you missed a part of my explanation. Would you want me to explain it again? Yes, no, maybe. Let me know. And meanwhile, I'm just gonna verify my code to make sure I'm not missing anything. So here it's gonna spawn. This is what we're doing, like where it's gonna spawn them at like a random interval. Then, and actually something that's interesting here is I could add specific values here based on the type of enemy that just got spawned. So for instance, if it just spawned a red enemy, the RNG might be between 0.1 and 0.5, as opposed to if it's a yellow enemy, it might be between 0.5 and 2.5, etc., right? It did cut off for a moment. Please explain the last minute again. Okay, so the idea is instead of using the number of enemies to spawn, right? Which is static and like it's a one-time thing. What I've designed with this list is a way of actually doing proper level design, right? So like you have a level and you're like, okay, on the first wave, I'm gonna have like 8 enemies spawn total, right? But I want on the second wave to have 16 enemies, for instance, right? So instead of like randomly changing this or whatever, you're just creating a list, and each index in the list, the value, like the list element, it's the number of enemies to spawn for the current wave. And this here is the wave itself. So as I said, let's say we have like 7 waves total. That's gonna mean 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that's 7 waves total, right? And here the current wave ID, it starts at 0. So we're saying, okay, wave 0, so index 0, spawn the number of enemies that it wants to spawn. Here, as I said, we did like random enemies, etc. Like then do the same thing for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? And then here I just added another condition on the if statement here, right? That makes it so that we never go past the max number, right? So as I said, like if we have 7 waves, because it starts at 0, the last index is not going to be 7, it's going to be 6, right? So that's why this, so even though we have a total of 7 waves, right, 7 list elements, because the first index is not number 1, it's number 0, then this means that the last one, the 7th one, is going to be number 6, right? So that's why this is lower, not lower or equal, right? Anyways, I think everything's good. Here, I made it so that once we've spawned all the enemies, we reset the number of enemies we spawned for next wave. And then we increment the current wave ID by 1 so that next time we spawn. And then we say spawn current wave boolean false. And so when this becomes false, then we can't do this because it needs to be true, but we can do the wave manager, which is going to do the timer for the next wave, you know? So there you go. There you go, there you go, there you go. So now let's see here, waves to spawn. Let's say 5 waves. And I'm going to have 10, 25, 50, 100, let's say 500. right? Like I'm going with crazy numbers, but it is what it is. And let's say 10 seconds between waves. Yeah, okay. So now let's see. Okay, let's see how this is gonna work. Okay, here, okay, so 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And now we have to wait 3, 2, 1. All right. Okay, so now it's gonna start spawning. Number of enemies. Okay, so now it spawned 10, I think. Yeah, that was the 10th. Okay. So now, okay, now we're in the second wave. Now we're spawning 25 enemies. Okay. Yeah, here we can see number of enemies spawned, etc., etc. Okay, now we're already in wave 2, so now we're spawning 50 enemies. Okay. There you go. Right. Okay. Make the enemies shoot, right? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure exactly how I'm gonna do it. The towers are obviously gonna shoot the enemies, but I'm not sure exactly how I'm gonna do the enemies for now. Okay, so now here we're starting to see like it's getting fairly crowded, right? Oh, see? So this, yeah, so a few of them are getting pushed out. That's funny. All right. Okay, so now the reason why I designed it this way is for the following reason, right? So obviously we're not gonna, like, let's say we're gonna keep it at 10, 10, 10, 10, okay? And now I'm gonna do another spawner. The variable, this has not been assigned. Okay, yeah. Hold on. Just gonna go here, enemy TD. There you go. Or actually, void setup spawner var. Oops, no. Public. Okay, there you go. And now what I'm gonna do is in the spawner, and then create enemy script dot setup what? Hold on. Enemy TD. Okay. Enemy TD. Okay. Setup. Okay, there you go. So this should fix this. They broke the mold. All right. Let's go with this right here. Okay. Okay, so now what I wanted to say is this, okay? Let's make it face like that. Let's just move it like that over here, right? So now what we can do is like multiple different wave vectors, right? So you can have like enemies coming from this way here. You can have enemies coming from this way here, right? So like we're going back to what I was saying here. You can have enemies coming from this way. You can have enemies coming from that way, etc., right? And so just to add more 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Okay, perfect. What I'm gonna do here now is pathing TD. Okay, what I'm gonna do here is public. Is it gonna be a list? Okay, hold on. how exactly did I want to do it? So it's gonna pathing ID. Right, okay. So, where was the list? Spawner. Okay. So, okay. In pathing TD. Jesus, okay. Let's rename this to pathing list. Okay. Index, it's pathing ID or path ID. Target object. Okay. So now again, instead of using this here, right? What I'm gonna do is a list of these objects. Okay. And now here in the spawner manager TD, what I'm gonna do is public int this spawner's path ID. Okay. This determines which path the enemies spawned by this will take. Okay. And so what I'm gonna do here is okay, this. Okay, we're gonna go enemy TD here, enemy movement, this enemies, this enemies, oh, enemies path ID. This is there's which path this enemy will take. Okay. And now what we do here is instead of doing current pathing script dot target object dot blah blah blah, we're gonna do transform dot look at current pathing script blah 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 dot list pathing list path ID, this enemy's path ID, or oh yeah, dot transform dot position. Okay. I like bugged out for a second there. My brain just fucking died. Okay. So again, let me guys know if like the logic so far is clear, if like what I'm doing right now is obvious, like if you can visualize what I'm doing. But if you can't, it's not a problem, because I'm gonna show you basically what I'm gonna do now, right? Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is cube terrain. Okay. Okay, good. Okay, so terrain. Okay, so now I'm gonna do no, I'm gonna keep this to 2.5, let's say, and I'm gonna do it no, not 45, 15, let's say. Um, 20. Okay, we're gonna do it -5. We're gonna move the camera like this so that we can see properly, and we're just gonna do it like that, right? Okay, this here we're gonna do it 1.5. Okay, perfect. Yeah, okay, this is ghetto, but whatever. It'll have to work. Rigid body, no gravity, freeze position and rotation. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is another spawner. So where is this? 30, 0.35. -5. Okay, whatever. Okay, sure, let's put it this way, yeah. Okay, now this is at 35, or no, this is -5, so -5, okay. All right, so now -90. Okay, so now I have 3 spawners here that are going to be spawning different things, right? And now what I'm going to do is here, pathing. The path 0 is going to be like this. Path 0 is going to be like this. So let's copy and paste this. -10. Okay, perfect. Okay, so then let's just do another one like that. -60. Okay, so this one, regardless of which path, so we're gonna have, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we're gonna have 6 paths total. So actually pathing, we're gonna have 6 paths total. Okay, so let's start with this one. Path 0 is gonna be 1 like that. Okay, so path 0 is gonna be like that. Okay, then this thing's path 0 is gonna be this here. Now this thing's oh wait, okay, path 0. Now this one here, it's gonna be I'm getting mixed up. Okay, there you go, path 0. So now we select this one, and for path 0 we're gonna select this one here. Okay, so that's path 0. Let's go back to this here. Path 1 is going to be the opposite. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so path 1 is going to be this here. Now that we have selected this, we can do, yeah, so this one doesn't have anything for path 0, but that's fine. Or, oh no, it does need something for path 0, because path 0 is going to be like this. Okay. Oh, okay. No, 4, 3. So 4 is for path 0. Okay, there you go. Let's save our project. Okay. Hold on. Okay, so that's path 0. Let's go. Path 1 is this. Then path 1 is going to be this here. We select this. It's going to be no, 5. Okay, so this 5 is going to be for path 1, right? Okay, and this, well, this is all the paths, regardless of which path it is, it's always going to be this, because it's there's only one way. I know it's a bit chaotic, but me personally, I'm like this, right? Like I like setting things up manually because it's like, it's a bit clearer, right? So we have, here we have path 1. Okay, path 1. Path 1. Like that. And then boom. Okay. So then we have path 2, which is this. Path 2. Path 2. Yeah, there you go. So now path 3. It's gonna be, so instead of this, right, which is 0, 1. Oh, let's hold on. Let's do here 1, 1, and yeah, okay, 1. So 1, 0. So now here we're gonna have path 3, which is index 2. It's a fucking mess. Anyways, okay, so this here is gonna be this right here. Okay, now this for path 3 is gonna be like that. Path 3, and then this here. Yeah, okay, perfect. Okay, now this here, I think. So path 4 is gonna be, path 4 is gonna be this. Path 4. Path 4 is gonna be this. Okay, and I don't think we have a path 5 and 6 actually, because I kind of like path 1 and 2 kind of absorbed path the other paths. So okay, so we're gonna be fine here. Okay, so now let's just create another one here, right? Okay, and let's put this one. Okay, actually, yeah, let's create another one here like that, right? And so what's the path ID? Where's my path ID? Oh, this spawner's path ID. Okay, there it is. This is gonna be 0. What? 0, 1, like 1, 0, 0, and 1. And actually 2. Oops. 3. Okay. This like that. 2. 3. Okay. And so now that we have these things, we're gonna start fucking around with the different spawn waves, right? So let's say 25 here, 0 here, 15, 0, I don't know, 10, whatever, right? Then this, it's gonna be 0, 10, 25, 10, 30, I don't know, right? This, it's gonna be 1 for each wave. Like, okay, sure. Or no, actually. 10, 20, 50, I don't know, right? Then this is gonna be 10, 5, 0, 5, 10. Okay, then this is gonna be 20, 0, 0, 0, 15. I don't know, right? Like I'm just making shit up, right? 5, 15, 0, 0, 10. Okay, perfect. 0, 0, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Okay, there you go. Yeah, I'm just gonna start putting zeros. Okay, 0, 0, and then 0 here. Okay, so now let's see how this is gonna look like. Hopefully it should work, I think. Okay, so now they should be moving like in different waves. Like we have to wait for them to spawn, obviously. Okay. Oh fuck, that's right. Oh shit. Oh, I forgot that the enemies don't pass through one another. Hold on, hold on, hold on. I'm gonna remove their yeah, their normal sphere colliders. I'm just gonna disable those. Jesus. Okay. Yeah, this should hopefully. Okay. Oh shit. No, yeah, like I know that this wasn't the clearest thing. It's just that there's a lot to do, and so I'm like I'm not really explaining what I'm doing, but the idea is like you'll see it in action basically. Okay, we're waiting. Okay. Ah, fuck's sake. God damn it. Okay, hold on. We're gonna put all of this, all of the enemies. We're gonna remove the gravity, and all of the spawners, I'm gonna put them at 0.5. Fuck's sake. You're jumping the wall. Okay. Okay. So now we just have to wait a second. Okay, there you go. Now. Okay, right. Okay, hold on. So they're not. Okay, hold on. So what? Index was out of range, and it must be non-negative and less than the size of the collection. Oh fuck, hold on. Okay. Imagine if the balls would come like a tsunami and you could build barriers and stuff to catch them and shoot them. It would be a cool rendition of creep. Yeah, true. Very true. Okay, let's look at the errors it's giving me. Because all of these have a path ID. Okay. Okay. So hold on. So now let's say this one here. This enemy's path ID. Okay, so it didn't get updated. So maybe I forgot something in the code. So the spawner, once it spawns an enemy. Okay, yeah, I never. Oh, I'm so stupid. Okay, so once it spawns an enemy, it's going to current enemy script dot path ID equals path ID. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. This current enemy TD script. Okay, yeah, no wonder it wasn't working as intended. Okay, so now you should see what I mean. Now it should be working. Jesus Christ. Oh my god. Okay. Okay. Okay, so 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, there you go. So you see how some enemies move directly this way, others keep going, etc., etc. You see what I mean? So now we have different waves moving around, you know? There you go. There you go. Alright, hold on. Now let me just see. Pathing 0, 1, 0, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, okay. And then pathing TD. It's gonna be 0, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. There you go. Okay. So again, that's a very, very, very basic pathing. And like, as you can see, there's still a few bugs, but I think this is because of something I forgot to put. But basically it works, right? And so the idea is, let me just give you an idea of like what inspired this specific mechanic, right? So that you kind of understand what I'm going for. So, Kingdom Rush. I don't know, like end game or some shit. I don't know, like Kingdom Rush Origins last level. Okay. Jesus Christ. Okay. Okay, so if you look closely, okay, if you look closely, the enemies come from this path here and here, but sometimes they're gonna move in different places. Let me see when the player is gonna activate the waves, right? Okay, fuck. Because it's sped up. You know what? I'm actually just gonna show you. I think I have the game installed, I think. I'm just gonna show you it's gonna be easier that way. Right?
Yeah, a couple months ago.
Oh yeah, yeah. Do I have... Oh yeah, I have Kingdom Rush installed. Okay. So let's play this one. Okay, okay. Okay. So let me know if you guys can see it. Okay, start. And now let's go here. Okay. So let's say this level, or do I want... Okay, this one has multiple areas. Okay. Hopefully. Okay, so see here we have like one wave of enemies, right? But hold on, I think I can have do another heroic level 5. Okay, sure. Okay, okay, there you go. Perfect. So you see how we have three, like here there's one path, but there are three different ones, right? Because like this one is gonna move here, this one is gonna move like that, this one is gonna go straight, this one is gonna move here, but maybe if there are two, maybe one of them is gonna move here like that, right? So I basically recreated this mechanic, right, with my game. So hold on. So if we go here, I recreated it because in the final version, these like the spawners are gonna be invisible. The what are they called? The pathing objects are also gonna be invisible, and so it's gonna look as though the enemies are just like moving naturally from one place to another. Like, you see what I mean? So this is kind of what I was going for, right? So let's move this. I don't know, like let's make a bunch of random towers, whatever. Right. There you go. There you go. Like that, right? Like let's upgrade. Sure. Okay. Right. So now. Okay, I don't think there's a way to speed up, but you'll see. Like, basically, look at the... Okay, so see, these ones are moving here. Etc., etc., right? There you go. Right, so that's kind of what I'm going for. You know what I mean? Yeah. So there you go. So that's kind of what I had in mind, right? I know it wasn't necessarily the clearest thing, but if you want, like, I'm gonna put in the Discord server, I'm gonna put the current version of this project, and so you guys can like go into it and like actually look at the script more properly, right? Like, obviously I didn't really comment on a lot of stuff, but anyways, if you guys have questions, you can always hit me up in the Discord and like ask for are you rage quitting? No, no, no. Trust me, I'm not rage quitting. It's that game. Like, especially Kingdom Rush Origins. It's my favorite of all of them. If I start playing, I'm not gonna stop. So, it's for the best if I didn't actually play that level. Invite people, copy. Okay. So for anybody watching the VOD, I'm gonna put a link again to the Discord server. Yeah, you guys can join the Discord server. I'm gonna put a link to the actual project here, right? And yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know. If you have feedback, stuff like that. And then next week, we're gonna start implementing the actual like tower mechanics, how like the towers are gonna be shooting the enemies and stuff like that. And I'm gonna show you how I'm going to do something specific with regards to how towers are going to know if an enemy is within range or not, right? So yeah, so I hope this was useful. Um, I hope you guys learned as much as possible from this. And if you don't have any questions, any comments, stuff like that, I'll see you guys next week. Stay awesome. I love you. I usually try to force myself to learn before making questions. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, perfect. So yeah, so as I said, like if you have any questions about it, let me know. I'm gonna put it probably in the next couple of hours. I'm gonna put it like the latest version of this project in the Discord server. Join the server, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Kiss, kiss. Hug, hug. See you next time.